Hello, I'm Scott Davis. Welcome to New World Birth. This is the weekly neutrino forecast for July 20th to July 26th of 2014. Human design is a synthesis of four ancient wisdom systems as a bridge to understanding our potential to discover our path to making decisions that are correct for us as individuals. And those traditions are astrology, the I Ching, the Hindu Brahman chakra system, and the Kabbalistic tree of life. So we're just going to take a few moments to look at how these systems work together in human design. We start by looking at the sun, the planets, the nodes, the moon, and earth in the wheel, much like we would in astrology, but except instead of relating them to zodiological constellations or to each other by the angles that they make, we look at them in relationship to the hexagrams of the I Ching, which we can see as just stacks of lines on the outside of the wheel. And then those are mapped to specific locations in the body graph. And on July 20th, we have the sun, and it's in Cancer. What's in the 56 hexagram, and you can see the stack of lines right here. They're numbered from bottom to top. This one goes yin, yin, yang, yang, yin, yang. These shapes inside the body graph are called centers. They represent the next stage in our evolution as human beings, from having 7 chakras to having 9 centers. This mutation happened in 1781, coincidental to Herschel's discovery of the planet Uranus. The pathways between the centers are called channels and are from the Kabbalah. And these black strip of paper on the diagram represent gates being activated by the sun, the planets, the nodes, the earth, regardless if they form a channel. I am not following the moon in this demonstration. It moves very, very fast, activates 3 to 4 gates in a single day, which would really make this a very long presentation, which I don't feel would be very practical. So we've got the sun. It's in the 56 hexagram, and it's mapped to an opening in energy channel called the gate, like I said before. And we have the 56 gate of stimulation, the wanderer, stability through movement, the preparation of continuity through the linking of short-term activity. It's located in the throat center in a collective abstract energy path in the sensing circuit called the Channel of Curiosity, a design of a seeker that connects up with the 11th gate of ideas, peace, a harmonic condition in the individual of society that permits assessment before renewed action. I found human design to be amazingly accurate in describing people, so it's become my primary tool when I provide readings. We have the following gates activated on the 20th. We've got the sun, but also Jupiter in the 56th gate. The Earth is in the 60th gate. The North Node is in the 32nd gate. The South Node in the 42nd gate. We've got Mercury in the 52nd gate. Venus is in the 15th gate. Mars is in the 50th gate. We mentioned Jupiter already. Saturn just turned direct on the 20th and is in the 1st gate. And Uranus is stationed as it turns retrograde the next day on the 21st in the 51st gate. And then we've got Neptune is retrograde in the 37th and Pluto retrograde in the 38th. So obviously not every gate activation forms a channel, but this information can be very helpful if you know your human design chart, because some of these transits will form channels with potentials in your personal body graph. And you can get your human design chart by going to jovianarchive.com, click on the button that says Get Your Free Rave Chart, and then just enter in your birth information. So basically, the neutrino forecast is just a weather report. So no matter what the weather is, your individual strategy and authority is the correct choice to have an authentic experience regardless of the program. As Ra Uru Hu said, whatever the weather is going to be, you have your neutrino umbrella. As long as you're experimenting with your strategy and authority, the weather is for your pleasure. And we begin the week with no channel definitions due to the transit field. We're going to look at the sun's ray-beaching line values daily, because 70% of the neutrinos we receive come through the sun. And as Ross said in Design Perspectives number 56 in his presentation titled Living with the Program with Ra Uru Hu, the lines of the day, when talking about these daily line shifts, he said we can always take advantage of the themes of the day. Now, if your strategy and authority doesn't lead you in that direction, you can just notice how the program's affecting others in your environment. So let's get started. July 20th. We start with the sun in the second line, the hermit line of the 56. This is described as linkage, exalted, isolated genius that will eventually find continuity through recognition and support. A genius for stimulating expression that will take time to mature and will need others to recognize it. Detrimented, a superficiality which collapses under recognition and is eventually forced to move on. A gift for communicating, but not enough depth. Second line days, people are waiting for a call. They're waiting for something to happen. They're kind of stuck in their own trip. They're more introspective. So it might not be a great day to have a big social event because people would rather stay at home. And then later on the 20th, the sun moves from the hermit line to the martyr line, the third line of the 56. Where it's exalted, and the shift happens at 9:42 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. All the times I'm going to give you are going to be Eastern Daylight Time, so you're going to convert that to your local time zone. The third line of the 56 is alienation, determined self-sufficiency, exalted, a will and egoism that often proves overbearing and guarantees continued isolation. Here it's acceptable given the sun's intrinsic vitality, the drive to control and be the focus of expression. And third line days are days to be careful on the road, be careful with things in your environment, doors, elbows, whatever. Think about the third line martyr themes. We've got, bonds made and broken, a trial and error process, a system of discovery that comes from figuring out what doesn't work. So it might be a day where you have bonds made or bonds broken, or maybe both in the same day. Then trial and errors of themes. Things can bump into you. So it's a good material day. It's a good day to do business or work on the material plane, but you have to be careful because things can go wrong, but those things are here to lead towards discovery. And then also on the 20th, Mercury moves from the 52nd gate into the 39th gate. Ra talks about it. We all know Mercury, messenger of gods. It's about communication. It's about expansion of human consciousness through communication. But Ra says it's not only just the words, but also as music. So what do we communicate in life? We communicate the message of our design Mercury through the medium of our personality Mercury. And what might be communicated with Mercury in the 39? Well, analysis that comes through dealing with an obstacle or something blocking our path. This is the gate of the provocateur, obstruction, the value of obstruction in provoking analysis, assessment, and reevaluation. Mercury in the first line of the 39 is a disengagement, exalted, the determination when confronted by obstacles to withdraw, but only temporarily. The energy to provoke by refusing to confront obstacles. Detrimented disengagement with the accompanying indecision as to when to re-engage. The refusal to confront obstacles without the capacity to know when to engage. Indecision is also provocation. On the 21st, the sun moves from the martyr line into the opportunist line, the fourth line of the 56 at 9:16 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, where it's described as expediency, exalted, the perfection of superficial personality, the mask that when essential, its true feelings to secure protection, the gift for stimulation as a role for protection. Detrimented, expedient behavior whose price is constant stressful alertness and nervous anxiety in fear of losing what has been gained. The role of reality, the fear of silence and of being uncovered. And fourth line days, we're looking at a shift. We're moving from the lower trigram to the upper trigram. So we're moving from inward perspective to outward perspective with themes of friendship, companionship, networking. Fourth line days are great for social interaction. People are more open to networking, to being friendly and social. And then also on the 21st, Venus moves from the 15th hexagram into the 52nd. And in human design, Venus is very powerful. It's deeply misunderstood, according to Ra. It's about morality, natural law in which we deal with the other and the consequences of the world around us. What disturbs you on a moral level? Your design and personality Venuses tell about a moral dilemma that you're going to work with in your life. If you do not act with moral clarity, Venus can be very unkind in its retribution. So we've got Venus in the 52nd gate of inaction, keeping still, the mountain, temporary and self-imposed inaction for the benefit of assessment. Venus in the first line of the 52 is think before you speak, exalted, the pause that is so profound that it leads to silence, the pacification of energy that leads to stillness, detrimented speaking first and living with the consequences afterwards, the energy that cannot be stilled. And then on the 22nd, the sun moves from the opportunist line into the heretical fifth line of the 56 hexagram. This shift is at 8:49 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. The sun in the 56.5 is described as attracting attention, exalted unusualness, and innovation, and sometimes genius, as guarantees eventually attracting attention and support. Stimulation at its most innovative and unusual, detriment all too often the tendency to attract attention that is self-defeating in its effects. The power of stimulation to provoke and disturb. And fifth line days are heretical. It's a day of suspicion, but also a day of universalization where something can leak out and spread like a virus, a YouTube video or a Facebook posting or whatever. But it's also a day of great suspicion and paranoia, which impacts the nature of our relationships. Projection and seduction are also fifth line themes. And then on the 23rd, the sun moves into the sixth line, the role model line of the 56. At 8:23 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. The sun's exalted in the 56.6, which is caution. Exalted the prudence when linkage has been achieved to honor its new commitments in order to secure its footing. Honesty in expression, living by one's word. And six line days, Ra talks about don't get stuck with your head in the clouds because you'll end up with something banging into your kneecaps. It's a day where it could be a lack of focus because people are looking beyond their current environment. They're looking into what's coming next. Could be certain dangers like a third line day of not seeing a car come, not seeing a bill coming, not seeing what's in the immediate environment because the focus is on something that's coming beyond this time period. And then on July 24th, the sun moves from the 56 to the 31. Jupiter is still in the 56. And then the Earth moves from the 60 to the 41. And the gate of contraction, decrease. And this shift happens at 7:56 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, with the sun in the 31st gate of leading influence, the law of friction, whether active or passive, that engenders transference and thus influence. The sun's exalted in the first line of the 31, which is described as manifestation, influence that cannot exist in a vacuum. Exalted, the sun does not and cannot hold back its light and thus its influence on every life, the natural expression of leadership. So now that we're in a new hexagram, we're down in the lower trigram, the first, second, third line days. People are looking inward and are more absorbed in their own process. The theme of the first line day is fear. It's an anxiety that needs to be investigated. So it's a day to study, a day to look into things, a day to deal with things you don't understand, can't make sense of, or simply don't know. So also on the 24th, Mercury moves from the 39 and into the 53. As you can see, going to bring us the channel definition. Mercury, again, we're talking about messenger of the gods, expansion of human consciousness through words and music. And so what might be communicated when Mercury's in the 53? Well, beginning something that endures. This is the gate of beginnings, development as a structured progression that is both steadfast and enduring. And Mercury in the first line of the 53 is accumulation, exalted, the dissolution of old forms, but not at the expense of valued components that will be strained and transformed. The pressure to begin something new, not from scratch, but based on the foundations of the old. Detrimented development hampered by criticism and the tendency to withdraw rather than make use of these experiences. The difficulty in starting something new because of the criticism that accompanied the old. And then with Mercury in the 53rd gate, connects with the South Node in the 42nd gate. That gives us the channel of maturation, the design of balanced development until July 27th, which brings energy to be cautious about starting something new. And I'm not sure how it's going to affect us, folks, as a transit, but for people who have this in their birth chart, it's about making commitments that need to be followed to their conclusion. So might be careful to about making a commitment, and we're going to talk about the nodes in these in the 42 and the 32 at the end of this, because this is really a time to be very clear about how you're going to make commitments in your life, and because it's going to be very difficult to get out of later. It's an energetic where we have the same experience over and over again, and if we try to avoid it before completion, it could be take 7 years to get out, and with the nodes here, it could take over 9 years. So this could feel like a time like that movie Groundhog Day, with experiences or repeating cycles that slowly bring us to a state of maturity and wisdom. And it's interesting because we have the Sun here, and now we have Mercury here, and then we're going to have Venus here. So it's like Groundhog Day. We keep getting this channel back, and as we move through time. So this is the wisdom that all life is a journey that never ends, and that we may feel deeply attuned to the cycles of life for a few days, and are more apt to notice planetary cycles, body cycles, historical cycles. It's also could affect non-generator types in feeling busy or having an endurance to work. Obviously, this is conditioning for projectors, reflectors, and manifestors. So simply don't get used to it. Just recognize that's what the transit is bringing us. And then on the 25th, the Sun moves into the second line of the 31. The shift happens at 7:28 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. The Sun in the 31 too is described as arrogance, independent action without guidance, exalted the dedication to higher principles that cannot wait for consensus, leadership that cannot wait for consensus, detrimented a reasoned arrogance that out of nervous tension jumps the gun and often misfires, the drive for expression that cannot wait and may cost leadership. And second line days, we're on the line of, again, of the Hermit. Everybody's waiting for something, waiting for the call. They're in their own trip. They probably don't want to go out. They want to stay at home. They want to be in their hermitage. So also on the 25th, Jupiter leaves the 56 and joins the Sun in the 31. In human design, Jupiter is generalized law, the electromagnetic central operating theater for the way in which the solar system operates. Living by the law can gain great good fortune. Activations in our human design chart tell us the law that we must live by. To benefit from the generosity only comes from deep obedience to honoring your own law. Guess what that is? Your individual strategy and authority. And Jupiter in the 31st gate of leading influence, the law of friction, whether active or passive, that engenders transference and thus influence. Jupiter enters into the first line of the 31, where it's exalted due to the Sun also being in the 31st hexagram. And Jupiter then is also exalting the Sun in the second line and detriments the Sun in the third line. Jupiter in the 31-1, which is accumulation, exalted the dissolution of old forms, but not at the expense of valued components that will be strained and transformed. The pressure to begin something new, not from scratch, but based on the foundation of the old. And on the 26th, the Sun moves into the third line, into the martyr line of the 31st hexagram, where it's exalted naturally and detrimented by Jupiter being also in the 31st gate. So whenever you look at a chart, you can tell an exaltation is an upward pointing triangle, a detriment is a downward pointing triangle. And so for the Sun, in this case, we're going to see it as having a 6-pointed star with both the upward pointing triangle and the downward pointing triangle. The shift into the third line of the 31 occurs at 7:01 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is selectivity, exalted the ability to carefully assess and choose the proper influence to tailor one's behavior accordingly, the capacity to lead enhanced through association with proper influences, detrimented a qualitative selectivity with the risks of runaway enthusiasm that may lead to humiliation, the drive to lead that will accept any follower and its risk. So third line days, be careful on the road, be careful of those things in your environment, whether it's a door opening into you or somebody's elbows or whatever. It's a day where you might have bonds made and broken, a trial and a process, a system of discovery by figuring out what doesn't work. Things might bump into you. It's a good material day. It's a good day to do business or work on the material plane, but you have to be careful because things can go wrong, but those things are here to lead to discovery. Also on the 26th, we've got Venus moving from the 52nd and into the 39, following right behind Mars. So Venus, again, deeply powerful, can be misunderstood. It's about morality, natural law, and how we deal with the others and the world around us. Venus in the 39th gate is the provocateur of obstruction, the value of obstruction in provoking analysis, assessment, and reevaluation. Venus in the 39 in the first line is disengagement, exalted, the determination when confronted by obstacles to withdraw, but only temporarily. The energy to provoke by refusing to confront obstacles, detrimented disengagement, with the accompanying indecision as to when to re-engage. The refusal to confront obstacles without the capacity to know when to engage. Indecision is also provocation. So the Sun is continuing to move through the 62, the 56, the 31, and the 33, which are the gates associated with the Mu'at God's head, the Egyptian goddess of truth, order, law, balance, morality, and justice. And Mu'at was covered in detail last week. So with Mercury defining this channel of maturation with the South Node, I thought I'd explore this 32-42 nodal definition in a little more detail. And Ra described this as one of the most difficult nodal polarities. Difficulty in the sense that it is a polarity that lays a foundation for the potential fulfillment of purpose on the stage where there is always a threat and risk, and there is always uncertainty. The 42nd gate of increase, it demands growth, It's abstract, collective, so it's about an experience through a deep sacral process and the expansion of resources to maximize the development of full potential. This is all well and good as long as the person's following their strategy and authority. But for those not operating correctly, this can cause dilemmas. In order to have the correct experience that's going to be fulfilling and bring development in your life, you need to enter into those relationships, situations, jobs, whatever, correctly as yourself. But think of how many people don't know their human design, or even those that do, but are not making decisions as themselves. This is a drive for growth that can be very disturbing and lead to crisis and dilemmas. And then we've got the North Node is in the 32nd gate of duration. The only thing that endures is change. So we have the theme of change and growth until August 31st. The nodes are the environment, and with the 32nd gate, it's an environment that's full of uncertainty that comes with change. And the splenic center contains carries our primal fears, and the 32nd gate brings the fear of failures. So the nodal environment is influencing people to fear failure, which can lead to thinking that growth is the answer. But without strategy and authority, how would you know what type of growth is correct? What is the correct environment for growth? The not-self mind is going to enter into things that are not correct, with the nodes taking over 9 years to move 180 degrees around the wheel. Some of these decisions are going to be long-lasting, along with their consequences. So the time period, and for the next month, it's even more important to be operating through your strategy and authority, so that anything that you enter into is correct for you, so that those relationships, situations, jobs, whatever, are correct for fulfilling your potential of your purpose. So no matter what these energies are that are conditioning you during the week, remember this experience is about being a passenger that's riding in a vehicle driven by the magnetic monopole. So enjoy the scenery. Let the vehicle take you where you need to go through using your strategy and authority. Every single day we have is a blessing, no matter what dramas are beckoning to distract us. We're all just giving the performance of the lifetime on the world stage. Just remember to observe the play, observe your movie, as well as act your part. Remember that you're a spiritual being that's having a human experience. Thank you for checking out New World Birth. The next segment of the weekly neutrino forecast will be on July 27th, 2014. Should be available on the 26th, where we're going to continue to look at the influence of the heavenly bodies as they transit the sky and the hexagrams of the I Ching. You can check us out on Facebook, Blogger, or YouTube, and I encourage you to share this information as videos or text as widely as you choose. And I'll be discussing the transits of August 2014 and providing some short 10 to 15 minute human design readings to the participants of the Earth Needs Rebels show on truthfrequencyradio.com on Friday, August 1st. The show starts at 1 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, p.m. I come on at 1:30 p.m. It goes to 3. You're welcome to participate in the show. You can get into the chat space on Truth Frequency Radio and the Earth Needs Rebels show, and send information or comments to Katie, which then will get forwarded to me, or you can personal messenger her with your phone number, and she will call you for free anywhere on the planet to bring you live onto the show. I invite you to contact me at newworldbirth@yahoo.com if you have any questions or wish to schedule a reading. And if you've been thinking about getting a reading, please contact me, because I would love to provide you a reading during these uncertain times. You'll need to be able to either call me in Maine in the USA or connect with Skype to receive your reading. We're also accepting donations to keep these reports freely available. As always, I am blessed that you've taken the time out to connect with my passion for these ancient mysteries and their application to our journey during this incarnation. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste, in Lakesh, and as Ra would say, love yourself. So thanks again, everybody. I always appreciate your awareness here, and look forward to connecting with you in the radio show or reading or future videos. All right, thanks for everything. Peace.